I hate starting the hour or the moan, but I feel like we need to start with a moan. Young player of the season. It's nonsense, isn't it? It's absolute nonsense. Like, I understand the rules before someone sends me a message about, Ade, you don't understand the age. I do understand the age, right? If you were 23 at the start of the 23-24 campaign, you're classed as a young footballer. And I think that's absolute nonsense. I'll read out the young players that are up for this award. Haaland. Phil Foden is going to be 24 in May. Saka. William Saliba. Isak, who's 24 already. Cole Palmer. Kobbie Mainoo and Destiny Udogi's had a really good season, I think, for Spurs. I think they need to reset this whole thing now. I think it's 21. I think it's 21.
I don't.
Or
I
even your
actually don't think
first
it can be
full
an age.
season in the Premier League.
Yeah, I don't think you can do it with age, because I think you get a situation where you can have incredibly experienced footballers who are exceptionally young. Like being of a young, tender age doesn't mean you aren't an experienced footballer. For example,
Harvey Elliott.
Well, imagine Wayne Rooney at 19.
Yeah, right.
Imagine what Wayne Rooney would have experienced
So what are you
at
thinking
19.
then? What the Americans call their rookie season.
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily... I don't think we
be
should
first
adopt the
season,
term rookie.
No, we wouldn't do that.
But I just think that the sentiment that comes with rookie is correct. Yeah, I think it should be a player's breakthrough season. So Kobbie Mainoo is a great example.
Perfect.
Is a great example. I think Cole Palmer is a great
gets in
example.
as well. I mean, like...
Erling Haaland is not a young footballer. He's a young man, but he's not a young footballer.
I mean, Phil Foden, he made his breakthrough for Man City 17-18 season.
Yes, that's not a young footballer.
He's been playing for Man City for 7 years.
Yeah, I mean, I remember Erling Haaland scoring goals for Borussia Dortmund in 2019, 2020, something like that.
Yeah, no, and it's a disgrace. They need to reset it. It just doesn't work. You can't be a young player and be 24. I mean, you're a grown man.
Because you know what makes a
ridiculous.
mockery of it? It makes a mockery of it when a young player wins the overall player of the year, and then maybe doesn't win the young player of the year, and you kind of think, well, surely by extension, if you are the player of the year, you are the young player of the year if you're young enough to be.
All right. On that list, in terms of young player, and let's not waste too much time on this, because I do want to focus on the player of the season. Young player of the season should be who, do you think? Or is anyone missing from this list out of interest?
In terms of
young player, like really young, like how was that Jared Branthwaite from Everton? I think he's had a decent season. Obviously broke into the England squad. Yeah,
I think Jared Branthwaite is a good shout. In fact, we've got a text message here from Stephen, an Everton fan, who's basically said exactly that.
There you go.
He said that it's easy to play in a good team. Branthwaite is a young player of the season by a mile.
Steady by a mile.
I mean, I would say that Cole Palmer, if we're using that logic, we'd extrapolate from Stephen's shout that Branthwaite playing for an Everton team that have been struggling at times. Cole Palmer's been playing for a Chelsea team that have been in total disarray.
Complete disarray. Henry Winter has tweeted. He says, very surprising that Anthony Gordon, obviously he's had a really good season, is not amongst the 8 nominees for Premier League Young Player of the Year. 10 goals, 10 assists, thrilling to watch, versatile, scares defenders, good chance of England squad. I think he'll make the England squad as well. Fantastic season. Mainoo, Udogie have had good seasons, but better than Gordon. No, yeah, you know what? It's true, because, Kobbie Mainoo, as good as he's been, it's only in the last 4 or 5 months, hasn't it? Whereas Anthony Gordon's been...
I'd say turn of the year for Kobbie Mainoo. And as brilliant as he has been, it's gone off the boil a little bit.
Yeah.
If you think about that stat, did you see that stat about the amount of goals the amount of shots that Manchester United have faced? Manchester United have faced more shots than any other team in the Premier League. More shots than Sheffield United since the turn of the year. Kobbie Mainoo has played in every game since the turn of the year.
Agreed,
I'm not judging him for that.
You can't be, because when you're playing alongside Christian Eriksen, who has no legs, Bruno Fernandes, who doesn't like to run back, it's all Kobbie Mainoo, isn't it? Go on, Young Player of the Year will be...
It depends on the way that you want to do this.
Cole Palmer.
Well, I think Cole Palmer is actually Player of the Year. I'd vote for Cole Palmer Player of the Year.
Stop jumping the subject.
No, I'm not jumping the subject. It's just, if I think he's Player of the Year, does that mean I have to think he's Young Player of the Year?
Yeah, by default. So you think he's Player of the Year. All right, let's look at the nominees for Player of the Season. Erling Haaland, obviously, will be the Golden Boot winner unless something crazy happens. Phil Foden has been fantastic. Declan Rice, so good you don't even talk about the fee anymore. Martin Odegaard, a lot of Arsenal fans are giving me stick because I don't think he should be on here. I think another Arsenal player should be on here. Alexander Isak, who's been, I guess, one of the shining lights for a not so good Newcastle team this season. I think got 20 league goals in 27 or 28 games, which is ridiculous. Ollie Watkins is on here. Good season for him at Villa. Cole Palmer, you just mentioned, and Virgil van Dijk.
The thing, do you know what?
Who shouldn't be on this list?
I think Virgil van Dijk shouldn't be anywhere near this list. I really don't. I don't think that Virgil van Dijk has been anywhere near good enough to be on this list. Virgil van Dijk has obviously not been Player of the Year. He's just nowhere near that. And I think that off the top of my head, I can think of 2 defenders at Arsenal, both better than him. Both have had better seasons than him, and both deserve to be on this list ahead of him. I think Gabriel undoubtedly deserves to be here. And you know what? Since the turn of the year, I think Ben White, and I don't particularly like Ben White, but I think he's been outrageously good.
Yeah.
Outrageously good in both boxes. He has been arguably Arsenal's best player this calendar year.
Yeah, don't Arsenal have the best defence in the league in terms of...
They have the best defence in the league.
How can no Arsenal defender then be on this list?
It doesn't make any sense.
And look, obviously, as a Liverpool fan, I'd like to see Virgil van Dijk on this list, and I can make an argument as to why I think maybe he should be around it. But you're right. If Saliba and Gabriel aren't on this list, Virgil van Dijk probably shouldn't be on this list as well. Unless,
when we're judging this, do you feel like we should potentially bring in context? So in terms of maybe Virgil van Dijk is a better defender overall than Gabriel.
Yeah.
And you know the way that Lionel Messi won the Ballon d'Or? He won it because of the player that he is, what he represents, what he's done to the game. And it's sort of a cumulative award. You win it because you have gone so far so many times. It's in the way that Leonardo DiCaprio finally won an Oscar for The Revenant. Do you think that Virgil van Dijk...
I love how you just make these things...
Well, you know how you just just being brilliant
almost
time
by
and time
default,
again.
You're in it.
Well, Lionel Messi won the Ballon d'Or last year, incorrectly, because he was Lionel Messi, because of what he's done for football.
I don't think Virgil van
argument?
Dijk has that status. Maybe Salah has that kind of status. I don't think Virgil van Dijk has it. I will say this about Virgil van Dijk before we quickly run through the other players. In terms of, you just mentioned Saliba and Gabriel and Ben White and what they've got as a defensive unit, right? Because all 3 of those they've struggled on the left. Zinchenko's mostly filled in there. But Virgil van Dijk this season has literally had a different face next to him completely. Not to even talk about a different goalkeeper as well. So it's been Joe Gomez with him, it's been Matip with him, it's been Konate with him, it's been young Quansah with him. He's had Conor Bradley to kind of marshal through games. Andy Robertson's not been there as well. Endo's been okay, but he's not exactly Rodri, is he? Virgil van Dijk's been literally doing it by himself at the back, and that's no mean feat. And Liverpool were close this season.
But they do concede a lot of goals. You would say that Liverpool, they're quite a porous defence. In fact, they end up going a goal behind in basically every game they play, don't they?
Pretty much. I just tried to stick up for him. All right, who wins this? Let's get to the 3 favourites. And I think the 3 favourites are Foden, Rice and Cole Palmer.
Gosh, all English as well. What a gift for Gareth Southgate.
Yeah.
The 3 best players in the league, regardless of who you think wins it, the 3 best players in the league trying to remove all tribalism are all available to start for England in Germany this year. That's amazing. That's probably unheard of.
Yeah, it is. And by the way, before we do that, I want Texas to come in. Text us 810-889. Who do you think's missing from this list? Because I'm looking at it now, and the obvious one, just looking at it, I just realised Rodri's not on the list. I mean, Man City don't lose a game when Rodri plays.
Rodri and Gabriel should both be nominated. I think if you're being totally honest about it, I don't like Manchester City, and I certainly don't like Arsenal. But Gabriel obviously is one of the best players in the league this season. He deserves to be in the top 8, and he deserves to have the chance of winning this accolade. And I think it's fair for Rodri to be on it as well.
Very quickly.
Do you know what though? The problem is you've already got 2 Arsenal players, 2 Man City players. If you bring Rodri and Gabriel in, can you have a situation where 6 of the 8
because
represent
top
2 clubs?
Yeah, because they're top 2. Over on talkSPORT 2, there is exclusive action from the League 2 playoff semi-final between Doncaster and Crewe, and there's been a goal.
But he'll take this corner, it'll be a left-footed away swinger, very, very deep. Dimitri coming round the back, has scored. Advantage Crewe Alexandra, and the fans away to our left-hand side in raptures.
It's on. It is on. And that goal by Crewe's Mickey Dimitri has put his side 1-0 up on the night. They're still 2-1 down on aggregate. That game continues right now over on talkSPORT 2. A couple of texts have come through. I said who is missing from this list. Paul from Southend. Bowen, criminally underrated. I've been saying this. I have been saying this from the get-go. He is, isn't he, though? He's not only played on the right, he's played through the middle for West Ham. He always scores. Why?
He is an extremely brilliant talent. I'm like truly, truly brilliant. And I just think he's so unfortunate with the timing. He's just so unfortunate that his career has come to fruition.
And there's so many other
players that play that position, and they're more exciting and inspiring and better overall than him. But Jared Bowen, in a different era, would be starting for England undoubtedly.
Yeah, Stephen, Everton fan, and you know why when I read out the text here. Says Pickford should be on the list. Is there a better keeper in the Prem this season? Are you having a laugh?
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.